This old man is tired.
Just things go wrong. Go wrong. It's pretty things option things. Hey, forward. We used to pick up cars and trucks down there. They had a Ford Raptor. Yeah. 71,000.
Oh, yeah.
Send her down.
Yeah, it's
Really? Man. Yes. He's down there.
Pretty good, you? I appreciate you.
No friend.
Well, I do appreciate it. And I'll have to say, I've not seen anything
What's up our his restaurant? They said he wasn't going on.
that I do. I appreciate that.
Hey, Skip Smith, that's one.
Hey, how are you? Probably so I could talk about it.
Take care of that.
He passed away. I was on the bench at police headquarters. He was going downhill. Real bad.
Mount Carmel Board of Mayor and Alderman meetings now in session, March 28, 2019, 6:30 p.m. Ask for y'all to rise. Darby, would you like to lead us in prayer tonight? Not really. Not really?
I will.
Okay. Pat Stillwell will lead us in prayer, and I also ask that y'all remember Skip Smith in your prayer as well. Just found out that he has passed away today. He will be remembered and great value to our community.
Dear Heavenly Father, it's with grateful hearts that we're here tonight. We ask that you be over this meeting tonight, Lord, and we ask that each one here will have the city at their hearts and the people at their hearts and do what we need to do for the people and move on. We ask that you forgive us of our wrongdoings that we fail every day. Now go with us and be with us through this meeting. Lead, guide, and direct us. And all these things we ask in the precious name of Jesus, our Savior and your Son. Amen.
Amen.
Turn and face the flag.
Yo-yo.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May be seated. Roll call, please.
Alderman Wanda Davidson,
Present.
Alderman Pat Stillwell,
Present.
Alderman Jim Gill,
Present.
Alderman Stephen McLean,
Present.
Alderman Carl Wolf,
Present.
Vice Mayor Jennifer Williams,
Present.
Mayor Chris Jones.
President. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight. Will say that, as said just a few minutes ago, it's with deep sadness that I hear Skip Smith took a lot of advice from that man in the past, and I really hate he's going to be a real miss for our community. If y'all see his family out, get around Skip's Diner or something, tell him how much he will be missed. I'm sure his family appreciate it. Do I have a motion for approval and correction of minutes dated February 28th, 2019, and meeting department reports?
I'll make the motion to be approved as read.
Have a motion by Alderman Carl Wolf, have a second by Vice Mayor. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Visitors' comments. All persons wishing to address the board shall stand, state your name, address, and shall be limited to a 3-minute presentation. The board may not participate in any discussion and cannot vote on the subject you present. Absent an emergency, the earliest time the board might discuss and vote on your matter will be at the next board mayor and alderman meeting. Individuals and or group representatives who have placed an item on tonight's agenda will be allowed to make a brief comment when that agenda item is open for discussion. Do I have any visitors' comments? Ms. Denise Livesey.
Yes, my name's Denise Livesey. I live at 580 Old Hickory Drive, Mount Carmel, Tennessee. And I know that we have our chief who has resigned, but I would like to ask our city manager to please fire him tonight. And my reasons is because Chief Grady White, who is resigning, should have never been here as long as he was. He has done some things that have been considered a felony. The board does not realize this, but there is a pending charge getting ready to come about to our city. Our attorney is aware of this. It is legit. Officer Grady White went 2 cities out of his jurisdiction to apprehend one of his officers and stabbed him in the back. And anybody that would do that to their own officer is just unimaginable. I would not want to hire him to defend me. He's supposed to serve our community, not cause conflict. He will be up on felony charges. Our city manager knew all about this, and it will be brought to the attention, and our city is going to be in the paper again, and Grady White will be exposed. Our city does not need to be paying this man another dollar. We need to fire him. Our city manager has been asked to fire him. He needs to act tonight and fire Mr. Grady White. Our city has been through enough. When we got rid of our last chief, we paid him bukus. I suggest that this board demand it, and please do not put us in a position to pay another one. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Livesey. Do I have another comment? Yes, sir.
My name's Ray Jesse. I live at 531 Poplar Street. I've been here since 1966. My question is, what's ahead for Mount Carmel? We have a mayor who's been found guilty. We have aldermen who are interfering with the department heads trying to do their job. We have employees quitting. What's going to be next? With all that's going on, with all the negativism we have within our city, who would want to come here and work? Where you have a job where you'd be under constant ridicule and duress. This board needs to step up and run the city in a manner to make its citizens proud to live here and work here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jesse. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Melissa Napier, 301 Independence. I was here last.
Speak up just a little bit.
I'm sorry. Melissa Napier, 301 Independence. I did get a letter from Vince about the lumber yard that caused the flood, the lumber washing down when we had all the rain. I've not had anything, it's not on the agenda about the junk, about the neighborhood, all the junk cars, the neighborhood's in disarray, the barking dogs, nothing's been taken care of there. It's not on the agenda for this month's meeting. We were here last month, so I just wanted to ask why it wasn't on the agenda for this time either.
Yes.
Same thing.
Any other comments? Yes.
I live at 432 Creekside Drive down on Mount Carmel, Hamilton Estates. Is it already said and done about the parking down there in the neighborhood? I mean, is that a done deal? I
mean, we've got driveways on the back there, it's pretty steep, there's like 3 or 4 houses back down there, it's got steep driveways. Did anybody take in consideration those driveways before you said you couldn't park out on the street?
Sorry, we're not allowed to answer anything until later on.
Okay. I just wonder if that's been, considered.
I will give you a suggestion right after the meeting, Mr. House, right over here, the city manager. Go there, see him, discuss this with him,
Okay,
and he should be able to help you out.
all right.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, moving on. Old business, ordinance number 19-482. This is an ordinance to further amend the Mount Carmel Municipal Code by removing the sentence entitled 14, Chapter 15, Section 14-1502 that calls for automatic planning commission approval if an item is neither approved nor disapproved in 30 days after submission, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance. Do I have a motion?
You have a motion.
Have a motion by the vice mayor. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second by Pat. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Wanda Davidson,
Yes.
Alderman Jim Gill,
Yes.
Alderman Stephen McLean,
Yes.
Alderman Pat Stillwell,
Yes.
Alderman Carl Wolf,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jennifer Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Chris Jones.
Yes. Ordinance number 19-483. This is an ordinance to realign the boundary of Mount Carmel by removing the tracts of parcel number 021-147.01 and 021-149.01 from its incorporated boundaries. Do I have a motion?
You have that motion.
Have a motion by the vice mayor. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second by Stephen. Any discussion? No discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Wanda Davidson,
Yes.
Alderman Jim Gill,
Yes.
Alderman Stephen McLean,
Yes.
Alderman Pat Stillwell,
Yes.
Alderman Carl Wolf,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jennifer Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Chris Jones.
Yes. New business, section A, ordinance number 19-484. This is an ordinance establishing and implementing a program to change mitigation rates for the deployment of emergency and non-emergency services by the fire department for services provided and rendered for the town of Mount Carmel. Briefly, what this consists of, we have looked into this in the past and we're kind of fine tuning it. Basically, when our fire department goes out, uses equipment, belongs to the city, we're rendering services, say vehicle accidents, that type of thing. The insurance company will receive an invoice from our fire department, and we'll be able to collect some fees and stuff back from them for services that we render out on vehicle accident scenes and things like that. Do I have a motion?
Can I ask something?
Gotta get motion first. Make a motion first as soon as we either, we gotta have it on the floor first.
Make a motion for discussion.
I'm making that motion just for discussion.
I'll second the motion for discussion. All in favor, aye? Floor is up for discussion. Go ahead, Pat.
Can we not table this until we have a workshop and study about this and what to do, and if you put a fee on it, to put a fee on it instead of just bringing it up right now, because.
Well, the only reason that we went ahead and done the first reading, because it's actually it's going in front of the fire committee. But the reason we're doing the first reading is because it takes 2 readings before it can even pass.
Well, I'd still like to table it to find out really exactly what is going on.
Can I recognize the fire chief here in the background, do a little bit more in-depth explaining about it?
Essentially, this is what we call soft billing. An individual. Can I break my phone? Yeah. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Essentially, what this is called soft billing. An individual will never, ever receive a bill when we go out and provide services, like the mayor said. If we use a state drive on the roadway, for instance, at a car wreck, we will bill the insurance company for reimbursement for that, not the individual.
What if the insurance don't pay for it?
Then we write it off.
In other words, if you're, what I understood somebody say, that if anything that you all do as an emergency, you get a call on. If I call you and say, oh, push, maybe my alarm system's gone off on my house and I'm not there, and you go to check on that, is there a charge, will there be a charge?
Ma'am, because we didn't use
That
anything.
clarifies.
Now,
It's
now, I
just
will tell you, I
emergency.
think in our ordinance, like after so many calls or something, there is a fee charge.
After so many fire alarms, there is a clause in there to charge simply for fuel reimbursement. And I don't wanna give you a number because I'm not sure on that.
Mayor, can I say something? I think it's the silliest thing I've ever tell of. We got a volunteer fire department. Hawkins County is helping us pay for it. The town of Mount Carmel's helping pay for it. Then we go in ahead and pay some firefighters to run these calls. We paying enough taxes, we don't need to put this burden on our people. I think it's a ripoff, and I am totally against it.
Well, I will add this.
Because
This
these
is-
charges are ridiculous, what you got in here, absolutely ridiculous. Just a helicopter comes in, $448? Come on, man.
Never landed a helicopter in the city.
I've seen them land right down here, man, well, whatever. But I mean, it's just ridiculous.
How come we couldn't see the prices ourselves?
I just got this Friday. But this is, I think this is ridiculous. You can put this on, you can consider it this time to charge the people in Mount Carmel this kind of charge. It is absolutely ridiculous.
that-
And I'm totally against it. That's just my opinion.
I think the whole purpose, what he's saying is to relieve some of the burden of the expenses of the fire department responding to these accidents by, trying to recoup some of the costs of the fire department runs from the insurance company.
Can I speak, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I know you and I had talked about this one day this week, as I asked you what it was. But the bottom line is this, the homeowner's insurance is gonna go up. And if you bill them, and I get in a wreck out here and you bill the insurance, you know they're gonna raise my rates. And I can't support a rate increase for anybody. I just can't support that. I've looked at it, I've thought about it. I've been another place where they had it, and it's all about getting money. And you know, the money's gonna go to the general fund. It won't go to the fire department. And all when it goes to general fund, you got people who are like to spend almost anything they can. And I just, you know, I just can't support it.
I believe, like he said, if some of these people see some of these ridiculous charges, they'd be highly upset. They should be shown to some of these people. But I'm still against it.
I'll make a motion that, we move this to the fire committee for them to go over, look it over. Do I have a second?
You have a second.
Have a second by the vice mayor, all in favor, aye? Any opposed?
Yes.
Have one opposed. Motion carries. The approval of boards and committee appointments. Do I have a motion to approve the boards and the committee appointments?
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Motion by Alderman Wolf, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second by, Ms. Davidson.
Chris, would you, take time to let these people know what committees that you're talking about and who are on them? I was asked about that.
Mike, was that not included in the packet? In the
Yes,
packet?
but we've got it, but these people out here don't have it. And you see the heads are shaking, they'd like to hear it.
Well, I mean, if they'd like to serve on committees or whatever, they're more than welcome to, but,
You don't know what committees
What are
are?
you trying to hide? Talk about it.
excuse me?
I said, what are you trying to hide? Talk about it. Tell us about it.
We ain't trying to hide anything, everything's public record.
There's
Mike,
always,
go ahead and read the committees and who's on the committees, please.
there's always been committees.
Yes, there has, people's asked about what committees
we gotta have an approval for y'all to sit on committees. Y'all are replacing,
Yeah, I know that.
okay, and this is done every time there's an election. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. The appointment for these committees, what I will put out, and this document will be available for anybody that would like to have it as well.
Thank you.
The general appointment that we're approving tonight will be for automatic appointments, board members to serve on different committees. There are some of these on this list that will be replaced by citizens, and that will come forward as we have more citizens that want to serve as well. Make sure I'm starting on the right committee. Boards and committees, for the beer board, we have Mayor Chris Jones, Vice Mayor Williams, myself, Chief of Police Grady White. That will obviously be revised to show whoever is serving in that interim position. Disabled Resident Access Committee, I will serve as the Disability Act Coordinator. That is a position that is assigned to City Recorder, Vice Mayor Williams, and Alderman Wolf. Darby Patrick also serves on that committee as well as Mr. Denton. Fire Committee, again, Chief White, which will be replaced by the interim police chair, or police chief. That's chairman. Alderman Wolf will serve as the fire committee, and Alderman Stillwell on fire committee. Library board, in regards to the library board, we have Vice Mayor Jennifer Williams that will serve. Mr. Holt serves as chairman, and then we have 3 other citizen appointments that we're awaiting approval on. One we can do is Commissioner Sybil Trent can be added to that list of names. She has agreed to serve on that. The Parks Commission, we have Mayor Jones serving on that. Staff personnel, we have Jason Sawyers, who is the Public Works Director, Alderman Gillum, Mr. Patrick as well, Alan Cloyd.
Wait a minute, back up a minute.
Yes.
Where did you get my name at in there? I didn't tell you I was gonna sit on any board. Then I ain't
Do
playing.
you not wanna sit on any boards, Jim?
I'm not, I'll sit on this, I'm not sitting on something outside of here.
Often always serve on different boards.
Well, they can do what they want to. I got enough here, I get called enough.
Just take
names
Mr.
off
Gillum
the
off
list.
those committees
Okay.
that he's been assigned to.
I'd like to be asked before I'm done.
Go ahead and, for right now, let's replace him with Alderman Wolf.
Okay.
Sorry, Carl.
That's fine, whatever. Whatever.
Just for now.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, sir.
I'll write my name down, just want to see it.
Go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
Good Plan Commission.
Planning Commission, appointment has been made, Vice Mayor Jennifer Williams. Mayor Chris Jones continues to sit on that board, as well as Garrett White serves as chairman. Public Utility Board, this is basically sewer board. Steve Epperson serves as the chairman presently. Chris Jones serves on that board, Mayor Jones. Don Taylor, Lawrence Herman, Susie Klein. The Construction Board of Adjustments and Appeals, Matthew Lane, Carl Wolf, Alderman Wolf, Don Carter, Sue Jarrett, Tim Lingerfeld, and Janice Dean. The Human Relations Title VI Committee, I serve as coordinator of that by virtue of the city recorder position. Grady White, that will of course go to whoever serves in the interim capacity. Steve Epperson, the fire chief, serves in that role. Mount Carmel Housing Authority, its members. The advisor role, goes to Mayor Jones. The Rec League Joint Committee, the appointment for that, this is, the Joint Rec League with Churchill and Shagunsville. Stephen McLean, as Alderman, will serve on that. The Safety Committee, is comprised of the same board members as the BMA, and then department heads, as well as myself as city manager and city recorder serves on that committee. And that's all for the committee.
All right, any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, could I ask that when those, people are confirmed their appointments, that a confirmation letter be mailed to them in a timely manner, so they will officially know that they've been appointed to the board?
Sure we can do that.
There's some names, Chris, on here that was called, that was not called, or does that mean that they're not on here anymore?
If you wait. if you
I
wait
know
for
one lady
approval.
that's real bad sick with cancer on one of them that.
Yeah.
Right, the names that I did not call are citizen appointments. Some of these will be replaced. And as those citizen appointments, as those citizens agree to serve on these boards, then that will come back before the board.
Okay, thank you.
What he's saying is,
They have to rotate off.
any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Discussion and consideration of police cameras. I believe in your all's packets, y'all seen, one that I happened to come across the company, and then you've got the other two proposals in there. One's for, $10,000 some dollars, the other one's for $20,000, and one that I happened to find was, $5,700.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until the next meeting.
Okay, I have a motion to postpone. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second by Alderman Carl Wolf. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and consideration of the fleet status and maintenance.
Is this about the police cruisers and stuff?
Have no idea.
It's my understanding, some of the police officers seem to think that we need some police cars or SUVs, a lot worse, and we need the cameras. I'm not saying I'm against the cameras. It's costing quite a bit to keep this police department going at this time. And I don't see spending a lot of money on these cars if we can't get our money out of them.
Yes.
I mean, I know police cruisers are really high. You're probably pushing $35,000 a piece, give or take, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Correct.
And I think we might need to at least consider looking at it.
Correct. Some years ago, we bought, I believe it was 5 cars at one time.
How many years ago?
Some years ago, I believe it was 4 or 5 years ago.
Is that the 5 at one time?
2011.
2011, so it's been 8 years. Bought 5 cars at a single time. Those cars are about to all age out at the same time. What we need to do is take a more systematic approach to fleet maintenance. And essentially, we need to be looking at purchasing cars, replacing our fleet, individual vehicles at intervals throughout the time, so that we're not facing 5 purchases all at one time.
Then one time we discussed maybe buying a police cruiser every year or two units per, every 2 years or some way. And it seemed like that just sort of went under the table. Now here we are, you've got 5 or 6 cruisers, ain't hardly one of the sick, somebody said, when he locked officers to drive. That's bad.
It is.
I mean, we can't keep dragging this stuff out. I know it costs money, but we really got to do something. Let you maybe take under advisement or do something about it.
You know, I'm looking at this sheet here, there's a lot of these vehicles, some of them's got 129,000 on it, some of them's got 30,000, some's got 19,550. Why in the world can't we take it up here, Dean and Sons, let them change the oil and rotate the tire, or buy a set of tires? You know,
We can get state bid.
We can. The issue that we face on this is that we're already well over, the budget line item for vehicle maintenance.
yes, I'm only gonna say this one time, people rely on money for a 223 to be bought at $600, then you should turn up some money to pay for this.
Alderman Gillum, the 223, the firearm that you're referring to was not purchased out of the vehicle maintenance line item.
You know what I'm driving at, we've been there before.
Okay, the issue is right now is the board's gonna have to reappropriate some funding in the police department if y'all want them to do any maintenance on the fleet in the police department, because right now, they have already went over budget in the fleet maintenance line item. Mike, do you have a solution to that?
Yes, I can transfer money at present, between line items and come back to this. But now in regards to the fleet maintenance, what we're seeing is ever increasing cost of maintenance and repairs to our police vehicles particularly. The annual cost of maintenance are just going to keep going up.
I would like to give a suggestion on this. We are on the fleet status and maintenance, right?
Yes.
If you look at this paper and see how much money we have paid on repairs of vehicles, then my suggestion is, we had at one time, we had a mechanic / public works. We need to get a mechanic on our employees, with an employee back in here to do the maintenance on our vehicles and keep them maintained, and they won't have to worry about taking them up to here and taking them up there in Kingsport, which is getting the biggest part of the money. You people would be surprised how many thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars went for repairs. We need a maintenance man. We need a mechanic that, like we had before, mechanic / public works when he doesn't have the mechanics work, which I don't know how he's not gonna have any mechanics work, because like you said, you've got 5 vehicles that could be fixed if we had a mechanic.
It has to be a certified mechanic
Yes,
like one of the Dodges.
right, well,
Or the police
if
vehicles.
we
They
could,
have to be certified to work on the fire apparatuses. They can't even touch a valve on a fire apparatus unless they're certified in that particular thing on fire apparatus. Each one of the new fire apparatuses over there has probably got a $30,000 computer that has to be plugged into it to be able to tell what's wrong with it.
we
Same way
still
with
need
the
a
Dodges.
mechanic. We
The
still
same way
need a
with the
mechanic.
Dodges. I think, the issue isn't so much as the standard maintenance as much as it is the major repairs.
Okay, let's take for example, back when we had the snow, if we'd have had a mechanic that could have done the work and kept that maintained and said, okay, and keep them checked to see what maintenance needed, we wouldn't have been in the situation we were in with 2 breaking down. We still need a mechanic. You need to find one that can do this, that's certified. find the money to do anything else.
The
So,
city owns.
Well, it's the board's responsibility to appropriate the money, and if that's what the board wants to do, when it comes budget time, you can put the money in there to
well, I
buy
think
the
we need to do
equipment
it.
and hire the certified guy to do it.
What
The
did you
city
say,
owns
Steve?
the computer to do the police cars with.
Ford dealership, or the Dodge dealership, I think we're
The
in Dodge.
city owns one over there. I bought it when I worked here. And no, you do not have to be certified to work on a police car. It's nowhere. You do have to be certified to work on the water stuff on the fire trucks.
Which is integrated in with the electronics and everything else on the truck.
But that's just the fire department. Any other vehicle in this town, anybody can work on it.
So you're willing to pay $65,000-$70,000 a year to do standard oil changes?
Do you know what a mechanic?
Tire rotations?
What did you get paid, when you was the mechanic here and you worked on these things?
When I left here, I made $18.38 an hour. But I'm a blueprint reader, I'm a heavy equipment operator. You lost all of it. You lost all your help at Public Works when that fell through. I'm not going back to rehash that. And yes, I was certified. But this board at that time could not ask for ASC certification. They didn't know what it was, they didn't know what to ask for. But I did have it. And I still have it. But if you want to hire a mechanic, on this next line item coming up on your trash truck, why not do, if this goes through, take your trash truck, operates 2 days a week. Hire you a mechanic that can drive the trash truck. Split him between that for about $16, $17 an hour. You advertise it and you'll have hundreds of applications.
Well, you must remember, we're in Mount Palmer right now, and we don't have the best reputation anyway. But we're going to try to get our reputation back. We've got to get our reputation back. And we have a wonderful town citizens that need to be given something back for their taxes. And that's to maintain what we've got. And you
And I
would
hope
have
the whole
5
board,
vehicles.
I hope this whole board feels that way come budget time, that y'all wanna maintain everything that they're already getting.
Well, there's some things we could cut out, and there's things that we could sell. What about the houses? See, that fell through, nothing's been done about the houses. And what about the siren? Where is the siren? Where are the sirens?
Piled up over there somewhere
Where?
in storage.
No, they're not aware of them, they never looking.
Motion to move on. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Uh,
Moving on to the next line item. Discussion and consideration of trash collection.
Like I presented last month, the trash truck will save the town over an 8-year period, $1 million. Y'all can vote any way you want to on this, I ain't persuading the vote. But if you don't agree with saving $1 million in 8 years, you'll have to support a tax increase. That's the way my figures come out of it.
Is that figuring in the payroll for the person doing it?
It's according to how, I've been told we don't have enough manpower to do it. But from what I see, we have enough manpower in Public Works.
Even if you do, you still have to figure in that salary for that position.
Right. But if it does, it cuts it down to 900,000 instead of $1 million.
Well, is that figuring the trash cans that we'd have to buy?
I thought we owned the trash cans, what I was told.
Well, I thought we owned it too, but they told me no. But I mean, do we have our own trash cans right now? Do we have to buy more trash cans?
The trash cans that are in service presently would continue to be in service. Kingsport at present replaces 60 to 80 trash cans a year due to just breakdown. Those would have to be replaced. So we would have to maintain a stock of probably about 100 to 150 trash cans at a time.
What happens if the trash truck tears up?
We'll have to have a backup source. Now, the truck that was in last month's packet, so everybody know, it's $267,000. That's top of the line automated truck. But we can buy a truck for half that. That's a recondition. Or we can do a 3-man rider truck for $100,000. We don't have to have a trash can. We can do like Churchill does. And if we can get Churchill to support us, if our truck breaks down, if we go that route for 1 year, we can buy 2 new trucks for what we save.
Mike, let me ask you a question. What did you say it costs per month to pick somebody's trash up? Per house? What you tell me? Just roughly. A month?
I believe for Mount Carmel, it is just over $6.
A month?
A month.
So for $6 a month, we get a trash picked up. I don't like, and Steve's got a good idea. I don't like borrowing $400,000 putting us in debt, me personally. And just before we say we won't borrow that kind of money, we got to get approval, I believe, from the state or some way, is that correct?
Correct. We would have to take out a note that would be dependent on state approval for capital purchase of that nature, given the assumption that we don't buy it outright.
But see me like $6 ain't a bad price to pick up the trash. That's just me.
Can you get grants?
Can you?
Can you get grants to buy the truck? Get a federal grant, state grant? Has anybody tried?
Anytime we borrow money, we got to go through the state someway, is that correct? I believe that's what you
Anytime we
said.
borrow money, we go through the comptroller.
Oh, comptroller, okay.
Yes.
Correct.
Got to get
The
the-
state has to sign
As
off.
far as grants go, there is the CDBG grant, which we see how that's going right now. We just applied that to the sewer department. And unfortunately, according to them, our town is too rich to receive that grant. And that's about the only grant out there right now that would probably cover a trash truck.
Steve, you want to put that on motion?
I'll make a motion that we buy a trash truck.
And I'll second.
We get in the trash business.
And I'll second it.
Now, what,
Okay, I have a motion and a second for
Can I
trash
ask
pickup.
something first, before we vote?
Yes, but I still have to say that we have a motion and a second for that, so floor's open for discussion.
Okay, if we have so many vehicles that need to be repaired now, and we need to buy vehicles. Can we not put this off for at least a year to get all of our vehicles and all of our other stuff that needs to be taken care of for a year, and then come back next year and bring this up again? Because we've got a lot of maintenance that's to be done, because you've got the fire department, it's got 5 vehicles that's just about gone and needs to be maintenance. You've got then the city maintenance over here, they need a whole lot of stuff. They need a vehicle themselves.
Who
And
needs a
several
vehicle?
things. Pardon?
who needs a vehicle?
The city maintenance over here, our city workers, they need some, they've got some, miles on their trucks too, and they need to be majorly repaired if we're gonna repair them. So can we not get a mechanic first and then next year budget it, since we're trying to get out of debt from last year?
You'll end up losing $1 million in 1 year. You'll have to vote for a tax increase. If this town don't change something, it's going downhill quick. We're paying out $13,000 a month. Roughly the loan payment on this truck at I figured at $350,000 to have a backup truck. is roughly $6,500 a month. So you got $7,500 a month left. That's not counting if you have to hire an employee in that.
Right.
But you got $7,500 a month that could go to buying police cruisers, go to vehicle maintenance. And it's money unseen because it's what you're paying out every month anyway.
We don't have to mention the maintenance that we'll have to pay on it. Let's not mention the tires, let's buy for it.
But I would love to have the contract with this city to pick up the trash. I could work 2 days a week and make over $100,000 a year. I would love to have it. All we're doing is buying King Sports trash trucks. They get a new one every year and we pay for it.
Call for question.
I would like to.
Call for question, Mike.
Okay.
I'm second.
Alderman Wanda Davidson.
Tell them what they're voting on.
We're voting on purchasing a trash truck.
No.
Alderman Jim Gillum.
Yes.
Alderman Stephen McLean.
Yes.
Alderman Pat Stillwell.
Abstain.
Alderman Carl Wolf.
No.
Vice Mayor Jennifer Williams.
No.
Mayor Chris Jones.
No.
I'd like to say something. If you get a tax increase, you know how everybody voted right here.
Discussion and consideration of personnel panel. We've got a lot of issues involving our personnel policies, procedures, our city ordinances, different, paperwork that's gotta be changed and stuff, and this would be a committee that we would run, the paperwork through so we can get down in and try to refine and make better,
Mayor.
before it even comes to this level in the board.
Mayor.
And
Mayor, I'm very sorry to interrupt you. The personnel panel, that is a panel to oversee hiring and firing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was the other one. Okay, thank you. Discussion and consideration of personnel panel, overseeing the hiring and firing. Floor is up for discussion.
Who would appoint this panel?
Is that right?
I didn't bring it up,
I didn't either.
I did.
I didn't.
okay? Who would you recommend?
It'd have to be the board. The board appoints everything.
And this is where you, Steve, you wanted to, let the board help do the hiring and the firing, correct?
Right,
That's
it's
what this is.
something that Mike can bounce his ideas off of as far as job positions, people applying. You know, it's not solely one person looking into it.
So I understand this, if it was to pass, the board would help the city administrator do the hiring and consider the firing, is that correct?
No.
No,
the personnel committee
the personnel committee, he would
It
appoint.
would be who we appoint.
In other words, you might want 2 or 3 down through here and him, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he would,
You'll have 2 or 3 or 5 is what
Okay.
you know, you always want an odd number.
Are
Right.
you wanting them to come from board members or from
Can't be board members, the only one can be.
one from the board and where the rest from the
That'd be
citizens?
Citizens, yes.
I don't think, can a board member can't serve on that, can they?
well, I mean, I don't know really what the regulations are for a personnel committee itself, but I do know that any personnel committee that's involved in employment decisions is subject to open records. So all the meetings will be recorded, anything that's said could then be used later in a court of law. It would all be on the record, it'd all go to the newspaper. There's also an issue if it's private citizens on the committee, any confidential information in applications or employee files would have to be redacted, so we'd have to have someone do that work. before they saw anything or discussed any of the employees' information. And it would be a bit of time and expense for, I would imagine, for the city administrator or the city recorder, whoever that is, at the time, redacting the files. But then also with it being subject to open records, I don't know if the board would want me to be there or not. You would have to decide that. I do know that I spoke with MTAS this week, and their opinion is that a personnel committee that's comprised of even partial citizen appointees increases liability for the town, because everything they said can be used against the town. So just for instance, if you're in a interview, or if you're discussing a candidate and they talked about if it was a woman, if they have kids, if they talked about their age, if they talked about, you know, their race, their religion, anything along those lines, if they're married, all those things could be used later in a discrimination suit.
So it can't be just any citizen or John Doe. They've got to know, it's got to be somebody that has, that knows about personnel, knows about hiring and firing. It's got to be a pretty reputable, intelligent person.
I would be nervous if it wasn't someone with HR experience previously, because you just, with everything being on the record, you run a fine line that before people are even employees, you could end up with employment litigation.
Can I ask you a question right there? This has been discussed several times, and it's my understanding before, when we talked about this, we was considered taking a pair away from the city administrator on the hiring and the firing and getting it back to the board. Ain't this about the same thing?
I think that,
or not?
This was proposed as an alternative to that.
Okay.
You know, that the city administrator would still have to say, but the personnel committee or personnel panel or whatever you want to call it would be providing recommendations. I think that was at least the intention behind that, so that all of that responsibility didn't fall on the city administrator's shoulders. What I've said today is just from a liability standpoint, that there are potential liability issues to consider when you appoint people to act on behalf of the town in an official capacity.
You're talking about outsiders?
Yeah, I mean, people that are not employees or town officials.
Right, okay.
But the town would still essentially be liable for their actions in those meetings, is what they say. That apparently there's some confusion amongst different towns about whether or not this is something that has to be subject to open records, but it is. So that's something to consider.
I think you should make her understand this. If they was to pass this, the city administrator would still be doing some hiring and dismissal.
Yes.
But that'd be, say, 2 members of the board or whoever.
Well, we would have to come up with a whole body of law to govern how this works.
Change everything.
Yeah, I mean, we would have to determine all the policies. We'd have to write them all, and we would have to be sure that we had a pretty airtight policy on how this functions.
Right. Okay.
And it wouldn't be one of us serving on it.
Because right now it's just been discussed about having a personnel committee.
Right.
But we would have to set up all the parameters for what that means, and that would it would have to be, I would say, voted on by ordinance. So.
You had a committee a few years ago, personnel committee.
Well, I mean, there's not been one since I've been here.
Yeah, I just thought I'd mention, we
Yeah.
had one in the past, and it was all BMA.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then that's a potential as well. So.
Anything further on this topic?
It just needs to really be looked at, I think. It really does. Make sure we understand what we're doing right here on this. You know what? That's just me.
Well, I don't want any part of hiring and firing. I wasn't hired by these people that voted for me to hire and fire.
None of you were.
Right.
And I
We were
was
hired
hired
to make policy.
to make, that's exactly, Miss Jennifer, we're to make policies, and that's what our job is, and to look after the citizens.
Any further discussion? All right, presentation and adoption of monthly financial report.
This is the cash on hand report as of the end of February of this year. Summary for general fund. General fund stood at $3,536,417.10. Drug reserve fund stood at $5,453.75. State street aid stood at $269,410.94. The restricted telecommunications fund stood at $2,655.68. Required fund balance, $1,061,149.09. Unassigned fund balance, $295,000. The assigned fund balance, $295,000. Unassigned fund balance, $1,902,747.64. The capital outlay general fund is $368,625.49. Emergency fund for general fund, $8,720.06. Sewer fund balance, $1,060,983.57. Depreciation stood at $238,129. The assigned fund balance was $150,000. Unassigned fund balance for sewer fund was $672,854.57. In regards to our restricted savings accounts, sewer savings, $285,664.62. Capital outlay for sewer fund, $227,020.13. Bond reserve, $61,788.33.
Motion to approve.
I make that motion.
Got a motion by Vice Mayor, second.
I'll second that.
Second by Alderman Wolf. All in favor, aye? I'll reserve my comments for the end. City Administrator, you got anything?
I have none.
Nothing? Steve?
Yeah, I do. I got a question for the board. Sunday night, I got a text from Mike. It says the mayor's wanting to sit down with each alderman. How many of y'all got invited to this meeting?
So far, 3 of you have been invited so far. That's all I can squeeze in. You were the first one.
It
You
said
showed up,
before
and I had 2
Thursday.
more.
Before today.
Yeah, before today.
So you tried to pick the 3 people, the 3 new people on this board. That's all it was intended for. Nobody else has got an invitation.
I turned it down.
So did I.
It seems awful shady. If you're gonna schedule a meeting, schedule it with all of us. Don't pick on 1 or 2 or 3. That's all I have.
Wanda, do you have anything?
Yes, I would like to say if anybody in the audience wants to serve on any of these committees, and if you want a copy, you can get it from Mr. Housewright. Just let him know if we want anybody that wants to, and we need some help making plans for the park and several different things. So if you want to serve on a committee, just see him and he will put you on it, because there's a lot of openings probably.
Another thing I'd like to bring up
Just a
on that
minute.
one. Can I add to her?
No.
I would just like to say that I agree with Pat when she was talking about the citizens of this town. I think we have a great town. I think we have the potential of being even greater if we would work together and people would quit following their own vendettas, their own agendas.
Amen.
And trying to get even or do whatever they're trying to do and try to look to the future. We've all had disappointments, we've all had hurts, but we need to look to the future.
Jim?
Well, I've just got a couple things here. I guess y'all can hear me. We're almost into April, starting next week. We haven't sat down one time, not a budget. We have talked about putting benches out here, just numerous things, talked about getting them done, but nothing has happened. Not a back-on thing. We sit here pounding our head in the sand. Then you wanna go downtown, see what the future is for 10 years down the road or 20 years down the road. We need to take care of the present, what we have right now. Nothing is it's not getting done. We need to step up on these benches out here. You went down Louisiana, bought what, $2,500 worth of benches? Or
Florida.
whatever, Florida, wherever. There's not a one been replaced down here, and I don't know where you've got the written permit yet or not. But we're supposed to be waiting on that. Did you send the paperwork out?
I have, there is a property that is going to be changing hands at the first of this month. We're waiting until that property transfer goes through to have the new owner sign up the permission to replace the branch.
What property is it? It's not as top secret, I don't think.
I don't know, Alderman. I'm not sure which property it is.
Okay, I'll find out. Now, the other thing, we're behind. I wanna make a motion put on the floor that we jump the meeting back a week in May and June, just in case we need the extra time to get the budget in place, because we're running behind. So all we're gonna do is back the meeting up a week in June and a week in May. We gotta have the extra time to get this budget in place, because I don't think it's gonna swing very good.
You mean a week later?
No, that would be a week.
Third week.
And you're saying have the board meeting the 3rd? Are you talking about the board meeting?
We're in a budget where we have to get this done. So in May meeting, back it up a week. In a June meeting, back it up a week. That gives you an extra week on each month to get this done. Cause I don't think it'll be done in that time.
Well, in the past, we haven't done the budget in the board meetings. We've done them in budget
You
meetings.
can do whatever you want to, the public's still invited, you can
Oh,
call
I
it whatever
know.
you want to.
I know, but I'm just saying, we don't.
You have to vote on it at the BMA, don't you?
Well, I have a motion by, Jim to move our meetings back 1 week ahead of time.
Right.
To the 3rd Thursday of the month. Do I have a second? Motion dies for lack of second. Anything else, Jim?
No, that'll do it.
Pat?
I want to first of all thank Grady White for the service that you've given to us while you were here. And my prayers are to be with you where you're going, that I'm just happy that you got another job that you're going to be happy in. And we appreciate the work you have done. And we appreciate all the men that work. And the next thing, we talked about beautifying our town and take each intersection and see if churches will sponsor one and put their names on each of the intersections to get it, some pretty flowers there or everything. Well, I asked Michael the other day if I could get in touch with churches to find out, and of course we would pay for the flowers and stuff like that. I asked him that, and put their name that this intersection is adopted by this church, okay? And so if you know, you have a church that you attend here in Mount Carmel, and you want me to call your church Cause he told me yes, cause nothing was getting done, there's just not time enough for him to do everything. And I asked him, I said, do you mind if I call the churches? Or if I ask for this? He said, I don't mind at all. So you see who got the job. I guess the squeaky wheel again. But anyway, so if you have a church or you're in some kind of organization, please let me know so that I can call either the pastor or who's over, this committee, because, and their name, that church name will go on the intersection that you've sponsored this intersection or adopted this intersection. So would you please let me know if,
That's a good idea.
or an organization either, but I would really like to have the churches. Because we've got several churches in our city, and that they would be more than glad, I think, to do this. And of course, you got both sides of the intersection, so if it gets too big for one church, we've got several churches that can do one side, other churches, because we don't have, 7 intersections, 6, whatever, from that one to Hardy's is our last one, or past Hardy's, right there's our
6,
last one, right?
I think there's 6.
6. So I think that's a good way to get our churches involved, or if you yourself wants to take one on. Because we've got to get our city up through here looking good from the road, and for people to say, ooh, I'd like to put a business in that city. Yes, ma'am.
Pat, if you would just enforce the ordinances of not having junk everywhere, it would be really helpful for the city to look better and not worry about flowers on corners. I mean, Independence is a hot mess.
The whole
Been
Mount
there for
Carmel's a hot
18
mess.
years. 18 years.
There's trash piled in every house, cars piled
It's
up,
ridiculous. That's why we've been here for the
And-
last 2 meetings.
and nothing has been said about it, nothing.
So if you guys would focus on that and not putting flowers on corners.
Well, we need to focus also, I see your point, yes,
I mean, that's
that
what-
needs,
I
that
think
ordinance
we're
needs to be
never gonna
taken
sell
care
a house.
of. But we also need to beautify this street, this main street down through here.
But when they walk down, when they drive down this street, they're gonna turn their nose up. The neighbor can't even sell their house because of the crap next door.
Get the ordinance.
All right, have you got anything else, Pat?
No, but thank you all for coming tonight.
I got one thing, Chris, right quick. I'd like to brag on the fire department. They done a good job on the house fire this morning over on Lloyd's Chapel.
Oh, that's good. All right, I have reserved my comments there for last. I want to say one thing that has come about with this BMA. Me and Michael started working together, and we've taken what the previous board has planned in the 3, 5, and 10-year plans, and the direction that the town was going with the previous board is more apt to change every time a new board comes on. We have attempted to meet with the new board members as well as the board as a whole, and we tried to do a retreat so we could get our planning together. That failed miserably with nothing but complaints. Yes, we have been trying to meet with each individual alderman, and we have scheduled those, and I met with you to begin with, Stephen, and I had 2 more planned with follow-ups with the senior board members. The only reason that they weren't first was because we already have their ideas in place, but they were already aware that we were going to be meeting with them too. This town has the potential to grow. We're working on a Main Street economic development organization in which grants and money can be channeled through for the economic development of our Main Street. Something's never been done in this community, however, it's practiced in other communities. We can't do things as a municipal government that a nonprofit organization such as this, such as what Kingsport, Downtown Kingsport Association, Rogersville Main Street organization, these organizations do. And that's what we've got to have here because of our economic development. the more that we're in the newspaper with all this negativity and fussing, the less people that want to come here are going to want to come here. But the reason we're trying to meet is so we know how to plan and present a budget to you all, which is both Michael's responsibility and my responsibility. But if we don't know what you want next year, we don't even hardly know what to put on that budget. So we have to know these things. We can't second guess. We can't go with discussion of and not have any idea what's going to be taking place because we don't know how to prepare your all's information for you. And all we've been asking is let us know which direction you want to go, and we might want to go. We don't need to worry about what our police chief, how he's getting the job done. Now, if he's not getting the job done, we replace him. Same thing, public works, same thing with any other department. If they're not doing the job, then we replace them. But other than that, it's their responsibility to make the decisions on how to run their departments, and it's not ours. We can set the guidelines. We can say this is what we're looking for. This is the direction we want to go. But we've hired these people to make those decisions. We've got a city manager, and I know we've talked as late as 10:30, 11 o'clock about different things going on. Me and Michael are working well together now, and we're trying to take you all in a positive direction, and we're trying to promote these businesses to come in. I've been meeting with some developers. He's been meeting with some. There's certain things that they're looking for, and every time that we've come close, people throw in the big monkey wrenches here and there, and they turn away. But they want property, and they want property for the money, and if we can't get these pieces of property together, then it's never going to happen. If we can't get this board working together, it's never going to happen. If we keep fussing with our own personal ideas that we want to do, and we don't get a collective decision on which direction this town's going to go, we're never going to succeed on getting any business in this town. And with that being said, motion for dismissal.
Make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
I second it.
All in favor, aye? Meeting's over.
Besides, what did you call that thing off the day before the meeting was supposed to happen? No, I'm not.